Welcome to Turning Tuesday. This week I am Reese, as I am every week, and I am turned in Australia. So turned in Oz. So welcome to this week where I am playing with a wood that I've not played with before. So this is a Tatiara Redgum. Now the Tatiara region is in the far eastern side of South Australia, around a township called Bordertown. So all the little localities around there fall within the Tatiara district, and that area is quite dry and very silica rich. So this wood alone was very hard. I know for a fact that this piece of wood has been on the ground for over 100 years, and it was gifted to me from SID's Repurposing. So this is an absolute fun one to play with. So most of this sapwood on the far exterior is very, very rotten. It had bug holes going through it. It was turning almost like it was dust. It was just not a fun experience at all. Now I decided to go with a bit of a different shape on this one. It is not your typical bowl shape. I wanted to really show off and highlight the wood. And so I've gone with a shape that's not really traditional, but it does indeed show off the wood as much as I can. And so I'm just using that long wing bowl gouge there, and I'm just getting a nice curvature out. And I will then quickly flip around to the front. I'm not going to flip the piece around, I'm going to go and work it from the front, because I've got a specific design in mind, and I think it's just going to be easier doing it that way. So now I'm just trying to square up that side, or a little bit more anyway, not the whole way. And that's good enough, I think. So I'll just square off that bottom and form up the tenon. So those little shavings there that look like they're curls, if I pick them up, they crumble in my hand. That's how dry they are. So this is very, very dry, very, very hard, and very, very silica rich. As you can see, my hands are already starting to stain. So you can tell how rich a wood is in silica with how much black turns up on your hands. Because the more black you get, the more silica there is, and the faster your tool edges disappear. And so, this one, I had a few points while I was coring it out where the slow speed grinder hadn't even slowed down, and I was already due for another sharpen. So I've created a recess and a nice little foot on there. Gone for a sharpen. And now I'm going to come around to the exterior and try and finalize that shape that I'm really going for on the bottom of the curvature before I go around to the front. You start to see that color of the red really starting to pop. And that's really interesting because that's not even close to what it's going to finish like. So it's really cool seeing that red already starting to appear and those gorgeous grain patterns. So I've now taken the tool rest around the front and I am just working it down, trying to get a section that I'm happy with. So I don't want to go too far in because of the design I'm going with. So what I'm doing is just trying to do a push down to the exterior rim, so where the bottom is coming up. And then I'll work it in a little bit more to really give the wood a little bit of a highlight. Because I knew this sapwood was there and I wanted to make sure it was visible. So have the sapwood as a feature on the rim of the bowl. So that was what I was aiming for, and I most certainly achieved that. So this is the best angle I've got because I didn't think about what I was doing with the cameras at this point. And so I'm just doing a quick pull cut there and scraping back towards me, just getting rid of as much waste as fast as possible. I'll then switch between a few different tools and I will be ready to go. As you can see, I'm starting to make quite a bit of separation there between the very top of the bowl and that exterior UFO type shape that I'm going for. And now I've decided that I kind of want to do almost a cove in there. And got a nice little catch there. And again. And the edge is already gone on that tool. So I've just gone to find another spindle gouge. And that's working well. Nope, not a spindle gouge. That is my P&N with a short grind on it. And so I just got a little catch there. I got sent up. And so I'm just doing an in push cut now. And getting rid of that little catch that I had. And that's starting to come together with the shape that I was after. Look at that dust flying off there. So I've got an angle that I'm quite happy with. I like the way that's looking. You can really see those cracks in the exterior. And you can really say, yep.
Oh shit, you fucking idiot.
Or you can say,
What
oh shit, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? I didn't pull the tool rest away before I tried to come around that corner. And as a result, I put a nice little dent in that rim. So this time I'm going to make sure I go wide enough and then come back in. That black line on the bottom of the bowl there being a bug track or a worm track or an ant track or something. It's interesting. So I'm just using the wing of that really sharp P&N bowl gouge and just giving it a couple of little light scrapes up the side to get rid of the main tool marks. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to sand 120 through to 400. Now, since I've been editing this video, I have decided that this is going to go back on the lathe. And I am going to resand it because I'm not happy with the end result. So the reason I didn't power sand this is I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this needs power sanding. I went to my drawer with my power sanding sandpaper and I was completely out. So I've been looking at the cheapest possible way to do that, and I'm thinking I'm going to get a roll of each of the grits and be able to do it. So I've just given it a sand up, and now I'm just putting on my furniture polish slash beeswax compound, and that's come up a treat. But you'll see in the photos a bit later that some of the wax did get caught in it. So yeah. As you can see here, I have got quite an interesting shape on it. It is turning relatively true. And I'm just going to put a quick mark there to remind myself that I don't want to go the whole way out. So I will go through quite a few different tools here, and then I will decide to take away a lot of this interior surface layer, because most of the silica is sitting in the grey stuff, not the actual redwood. So there is still a lot of silica in the redwood, but a lot of it is sitting here. And right now I'm already fighting the wood, so I'm probably due to go for a sharpen. As you can see by how much force came out as I cut around that corner, I'm definitely starting to lose that edge. And now it's struggling to even pick up a cut. So I tried to use a different angle on the tool, just so that I could keep going without having to worry about it. And then I've gone, alright fine, I'll just go tiny little cuts for a second. And then I get to about here, and I'm just not picking up the cut at all. There's nothing happening. It's just smoking. And I am putting far too much force on it. So like, no, I'm going for a sharpen. I do not like this. I tried to do one last pass and it just wasn't working. And so I said to myself, yeah, nah, I'm going to sharpen. So I've headed off to sharpen. I did a couple of tools while I was there. And as you can tell, straight into it, cutting much, much better. And you can see here, I've now decided, hang on, wait, let's try and get rid of a lot of that silica that is sitting on the surface and just work it down. And so now I've hit the bottom depth. Now I'm happy and I will continue to work that out, getting rid of as much as possible. Oh, look, I'm due for another sharpen. Getting rid of as much as possible so that I can at least keep the edge on the tool and hopefully be able to work it in. And the edge is pretty much gone.
Fucking serious?
And I say to myself, are you fucking serious? Because that's just a pain in the ass. But yeah, no, that edge is pretty much gone. And when I went and sharpened, the wheel hadn't even stopped. So now I'm back. I'm giving it a much better cut. And I'm getting as much of it hogged out as I can, as fast as possible. Now I did come back out there, but I stopped before the upper curve so that I knew I was still safe. It was a fairly light cut and I knew what my tool was doing at all times. If you don't really understand what your bevel's doing, it is not recommended that you cut both ways. You can cut both ways, but it takes a bit of knowledge and a bit of experience. Now, in saying that, I am still only a hobbyist, so I'm just doing my best and having a good guess, making sure I'm doing everything. But I do understand my tool angles. So I understand what it's doing, and I understand how to stay safe for the most part. And you only learn that from educating yourself and putting in the time at the lathe. So, if you're fairly new to turning, it's not... Some of the things I do, I don't recommend you even remotely attempt, not until you get really comfortable using the standard cuts. Now, I wanted to go with a little bit of an undercut here, so I've come in pushing in with my round nose scraper, big chunky boy round nose scraper, and it's doing really well. And Sid's probably going to get grumpy with me on that one, but suck it up. And I made this custom tool for the flowers the other week, and now I'm using it to try and get a little bit of a more vertical and almost an undercut. So I do get a slight undercut. I don't go too far, just enough that it adds an extra layer to it. You'll understand when you see the photos. So I'm taking it down a little bit, and then I notice that I've got a good lip, so I just blend it back in with the bottom. Then I come back with the other tool, I'd swap around a couple of times, just to really try and accentuate it and get it undercut as much as possible. And now I wanted to give myself a really nice crisp inside edge, so I'm just using the left hand side of the tool, so the edge of the sharp tip, and just pushing in and giving it a really nice gentle cut, because I really wanted to keep those original saw marks. So in the grey is original saw marks from when this was logged, and it just looks really gorgeous. So I don't know if it was the milling process or if it was through chainsaw, or it wasn't chainsaws, it was hand saws at the time, or a massive rotary saw. But the detail and texture that it's got is just something that I really like, and it's for that reason that I've chosen to keep this one in my collection. Because, A, the piece of wood was a gift from Sid, and so I like to keep things in my collection when they've been genuinely given out of care. And so this is one of those pieces that will always be with me, and I hope I can gift it to someone who will respect it before I pass, because it's going to outlast me. I'm just using that scraper and balancing it out. And now I'm just going to go with another little pass, trying to get that undercut a little bit more. And it's feeling pretty good to the hand. So, I think we're about due to start sanding. So again, this is one of those spots where I was like, yeah, I need to power sand this, but I already knew that I didn't have the grits, and I just wouldn't be able to do it. So, I've gone with a fairly quick sand here, and I wasn't overly happy with the end result, but I knew I'd come back and revisit it later. I also knew that the Triple E would take away some of the pulled grain, so I'm just giving it a crack and really making that red pop. So the thing that I love about this is you see around the rim how a little bit of Triple E, which has some oils and stuff in it, adds to that black. But if you notice in on the red, once a touch of oil hits that, it goes black in there as well. And it just looks amazing. It's a natural fade that happens from this beautiful dark color into the rich red. And to the naked eye, it just looks splendid. This wood is absolutely glorious. So thank you very much, Sid, for allowing me to have a play. And I really, really, really love this one. I really like the fact that I got the sapwood to come out on the front side so that you can see the entirety of the wood in its full glory. So thank you very much if you're still watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week, because I'm going to have some fun and resand this. Thank you very much.